Welcome back to the Discussions with David. I'm so glad you joined us once again. We're so grateful and amazed at all of the things that God has done to bring us to 2024. Last year, we had a chance to explain some of the great things that SMM family members did throughout their communities. Many of those that shared their work received seed grants. One of the questions for our discussion today is, what exactly is a seed grant? For those that are trained within the Material Sustainable Med, they received information to go impact their communities in sustaining ways. However, they're able to apply for what we call as seed grants to help them begin the things they learned and put those into practice. Now, these seed grants are meant as an accelerator for this process. They never need actually this resource, this material in order to help them do the work. However, in resource-limited communities, that helps them jumpstart their programs and allows them to have bigger impacts in shorter periods of time. So it's something we'll continue to do for many, many years, and it has made huge impacts on these communities in very tangible ways. Now, for those that are selected for seed grants, this is a very rigorous process. There's huge spreadsheets which are created as we try to look at both the quality of the application itself as well as the things we know about these partners. And in that, as you'll see just even a small example on the screen here, of just these enormous spreadsheets created as we look at both objectively and subjectively, what are some of the best partners and best projects, as well as we try to look at considerations of regions and other considerations, as we determine who receives seed grants for the upcoming year. Last year, we were able to give out initially 126 grants, and over the course of the year, we actually gave out a total of 150. There's some additional funding that came into place. And that was amazing and allowed some of these great things we shared about. This year, we're able to give 103 grants, which is an amazing thing to celebrate. But for some of you asked, well, how come this year there's fewer than there were in the years before? Now, one of the big things for this is that we have a lot of great supporters for this ministry, but there's those that kind of gave some very specific time-limited gifts that allowed us to do some amazing things over these last 3 years. Now, organizationally, Sustainable Med is in a very good place, but as donations come in and they come out, there's different ebbs and flows of things. We've committed, as an organization for Sustainable Med to share and to give out the things they receive, not to hold on to that money and to create huge reserves. But because of that, there's variations from year to year. And so this year, there are fewer grants than there are in kind of years past. And that's just a reality of things that happen. Now, that's much easier to say when we think about that in theory. And, as we think of that in my mind of like, oh, well, there's changes from time to time. The hard part is that, there's a lot of great partners that didn't receive grants this year. We received over 300 applications. And of that, there's over 120 amazing, excellent applicants that did not receive funds for this year. Now, if we had the money in a moment, we would give it to them. But the challenges are we can only give out the things that we have in our possession, the things that God has entrusted us for this year. Now, it's not because we didn't like them. It's not because they didn't have good applications. This is just the things we have to balance every single year. But for us, what are we doing for those people that didn't receive seed grants? Well, number one, we'll, of course, continue to share story, talk to different donors, find ways in which we can potentially find additional grant funds that we can then pass on to these amazing leaders. We've done that every single year in the past and something we'll continue to do this year. Also, one thing we've done over the last few years in particular is that for those who did not receive seed grant funds, we've used both our staff as well as Leaders of Excellence to come alongside and help them really identify what are the local resources they can use to help still do many of the great projects, the great ideas they had to help transform their communities. Now, it's still very heartbreaking not to give everyone seed grants, but it's amazing to see what God has done. Over this past year, we had many of our partners that did not receive any seed grants that did amazing things. So along those kind of ways, we'll continue to support them. Please continue to support this ministry. Continue to pray for those, both that received grants as well as that didn't. Thank you so much, and God bless you.